So PlayStation 5 has officially surpassed 10 million units sold. Remains the fastest selling console in Sony Interactive Entertainment history, which is true. At this point in time, it is fastest selling PlayStation console of all times. And right now, here's some more numbers for you. So Miles Morales has sold 6.5 billion copies across both consoles. MLB The Show 21, excuse me, has sold 2 million copies. Is that on PS4 as well? That the game, or is it?
Well, yeah. Well,
actually, it's on Xbox as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's on everything.
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah. Returnal, and we're gonna get back to this one. Returnal, a new IP, has launched with 560,000 copies. Sony calls it a mega hit, by the way. We'll talk about that in a bit. And Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, the last PlayStation 5 exclusive for who knows how long, 1.1 million copies. So,
and that's not a mega hit.
Yeah, right.
So that's not a mega hit compared to Returnal, apparently.
So here's a couple of things that I want to bring up. So, PlayStation 5, as we see, it's definitely hard to get. I'm not saying it's easy. You can't just walk into a store and get them. People are still buying them. But if we kind of go with the analysts here, we got to remove 10% of those because they're in the hands of scalpers. So 9 million sold.
Yeah.
Sold to stores. We don't know about customers, Pretty good. But because of that, I think some of these games are underselling.
There's a million scalped PlayStations in circulation.
Yeah,
well, Brett.
I'm shitty with math, but I think I got this right. So there's 10 million PlayStations. 10% of them are from scalpers.
Yeah.
So
No, you're right. I just find it I knew that there was scalpers and I knew that there was a percentage, but just to put a number on it, there's a million PlayStations out there.
Think about that. That's scary.
It does. It does hurt game sales, and it hurts. The one way to see, who your active customers are, you don't just look at the system sales. You look at engagement, right? So engagement is PlayStation Plus subscriptions and purchases on the store, and you look at the game sales, right? So then it's like, well, this doesn't quite match. You have 10 million units in the market, but some of your biggest titles aren't selling as well as they should be. Right, that's because a lot of them are sitting with scalpers and not being used at all because they're trying to sell them, trying to resell them. So it definitely does hurt their soft numbers.
Yeah, like look at Ratchet and Clank, for example, right? And I will say this, just to get it out there, right? Ratchet and Clank is always been one of those franchises that has done well, but never been a blockbuster, super blockbuster, right? It's just done better than other titles, right? PlayStation titles, but not on like Last of Us, Uncharted, not on those levels, right? So, but I was, maybe I was wrong here. I was under the assumption like, okay, because there are no actual PS5 games, very few of them, Demon's Souls like the only other one I could think of, this game will do well on that. But it kind of goes to show it's like people kind of don't care, and based anecdotal, obviously, just based off of the replies I got, because I'm like, why the fuck aren't you buying this game? There's nothing out. Almost like 70% of the responses were, this game is interesting, I don't want to pay $70. Interesting, right? So that's going on there. So you have a franchise that's not historically been a mega seller, and $70, people are kind of wary, Then, of course, we got Returnal. Your boy got into some heat with some of these fanboys, man.
Uh-oh.
Because Sony, and I am not making this up, Sony literally said a game that sold 560,000 copies is considered a mega hit, right? And some people are saying, oh, it's an indie game. It probably didn't cost that much to develop. It is a mega hit. Listen, I'll give you hit. I will give you hit all day, every day. Not mega hit. No fucking way. You want to tell, if you want to tell an indie game as mega hit on a 10 million system, sold console, 3 million. That's a mega hit for a game like that. Less than 1 million? No, that's not a fucking mega hit. And then again, by that metric, why the fuck isn't Miles Morales considered a mega hit? That's 6.5 million copies. No one's calling that a mega hit, but Returnal's a mega hit. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not buying that shit. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But yeah, I mean, again, like we talked about, these numbers are good for Sony, but when you have that many scalpers that have inventory, kind of sucks. And like you said, Chris, look at the engagement. Even Jim Ryan, our boy Jim Ryan, was like, yeah, the engagement is kind of not there because these motherfuckers are sitting on so many consoles.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want. That's where the consistent revenue comes from. I mean, it's like Microsoft can live with lower system sales, right? Look how many Game Pass subscriptions they have and xCloud users and whatever. That's what they're looking for. That's the recurring income that you have from subscriptions. Sony is not having that because these guys are sitting on systems that they can't flip. So these systems are essentially dead. Even though you got the initial sale in the store from these guys just buying up boatloads of them to resell them, they're not being used. And a lot of people aren't going for it, right? So those systems are just sitting in somebody's garage while they try to flip them and not being used.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got the fact that these PlayStation exclusives are $70. People are like, fuck that. I think also the other thing that happened with Returnal is, let's just be honest, and we said this before, right? Sony put the bait and switch on you, right? How did they advertise the game? Third-person, narrative-driven sci-fi game, right? Action game. Yeah, let's fucking go. It's not that at all. It's a fucking roguelike. Indie roguelike. Just with nicer graphics. And a lot of people, I mean, we saw the people, percentage who finished. Nobody finished this fucking game. Very few people got past the first boss. Think about that. And I'm keeping it real right now because a lot of people, they're like, oh, Tony, you didn't beat the game. You didn't get past the third boss. Most people didn't get past the third boss. I'm more ahead than most people because most people can't even beat the first boss. So, yeah, go ahead, man.
Shit, I can't beat the price.
You can't beat the price. And you're charging $70 for that game. Oh. I'm going to say it. I don't give a fuck who gets mad. And Carlos, you go next. This game should have been a PS Plus game, man. I said it.
You did the plus.
Spicy.
Go ahead, Carlos.
I think the game did well for what it is. It
did well, Carlos, but it's not a mega hit. Do you think it's a mega hit?
I think it's not a mega hit. I mean, someone mentioned in the comment section, I forgot who was Nayusi. Mega literally means million. Yep. 10 to the power 6. That's literally what mega is. And it's didn't even sell a million. So it's obviously a lot of that discussion can get into a semantics war because people sometimes bring in their own definitions to what different words mean.
Not with this one. Mega's a million.
So yeah, so they what's it called? Damn, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Returnal in any console generation, in any time frame, in any year, would have sold kind of like how it did. It's not that's not a game that's like for the masses. It's not a Spider-Man game. It's not a God of War. It's not even a Horizon or Death Stranding. It's a niche game that got a lot of hype because it was the only thing around.
Yeah.
So people who think this should have sold 1 million, I think those expectations were a bit too high, in my opinion. 500,000 is a success for this type of game.
Oh yeah,
and they should be happy with.
But he's right. It's not that's not a mega hit.
It's not a mega hit.
Yeah, it's not a mega hit. Yeah.
No. So that's my sticking point with that statement. Mega hit. Hit, sure. You can say hit all you want. Don't give me that mega.
Don't give me that mega.
Don't give me that mega. By the way, I want to play Million Man, my favorite Capcom game.
Yeah, Million Man.
Yeah, Million Man. And then Ratchet and Clank, kind of disappointing. The only PlayStation 5 game, nobody's buying it. Ain't that something?
I mean, people are buying it, but again, it's like
it's a mega hit.
That actually is a mega hit.
It has a mega hit, but at the same time, again, Ratchet and Clank games were not cornerstone titles. They are released in conjunction with other titles around it. Just like how Gravity Rush or a bunch of the other titles that are not like top of the food chain, you had other titles around it. You have the big heavy hitters, and then you had, things to fill in the gaps, fill in the space. Middleware games.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there. But again, it's like a middleware game could have been elevated to something else, but that price, I wonder if it would have done better. And then the other question I have, I guess this is for the panel here, because, or maybe, again, correct, like, is my thinking wrong in this? Because to me, I'm like, $60, $70, is $10 really that big of a stretch?
No, not really.
Because again, people online are making it like, $70 is too much.
It's not $10. It's $10 more.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Is that? But is that really like? Is that what breaks it for some people?
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. Here, look at it this way. So, a $70 game, right? That's $10 more.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna need to buy the fucking season pass. That's gonna be another $30. And that's not even gonna cover the fucking DLC for some reason. So that's gonna be another $30 or $40. So to get the whole game, man, I'm looking at paying up between $125 and $150.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Sick of it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But again, for this game specifically, there is no DLC, there is no expansion. It's just $70, and people are saying that's too much.
People don't think it's worth it. They don't think it's worth it.
I think that may be what it is. Yeah.
But
no, but
are we talking about Returnal still? Yeah,
no.
the game is not worth it.
Oh yeah, Returnal's not worth it. Like I said, that should have been a PS Plus game. Just being real. But again, some people literally said like, "Oh, that's too steep of a price for me." I'm like, again, I'm trying to see if because I'm not fucking rich or nothing, but I'm like $10. That's nothing, bro. But I don't know. I guess maybe I think maybe for some people maybe it is.
Well, the idea of $70, it is only $10 more, but it's $70. $60 is still a lot of money.
Yeah, but again, and again, Manny, you just brought the made me think about this. Maybe my view of this is skewed because remember we used to pay $70 back in the '90s. So maybe my perception is kind of skewed. I'm like $70. We paid $80 for games, but you're right. It's like if you grew up with $50, $60 games, that might be a little too much,
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it went up to 60 was a big deal when that happened. So, I mean, to be honest, that just means that I'm not going to be buying games. At least for me, I'm not going to be buying games all willy nilly when I eventually make the decision to go to to the next gen. You know.
So
we should. By the way, we should add that. At the moment, it's only really PlayStation that's charging $70 for exclusives.
Yeah, I mean,
most games are still $60.
I could just shine up and get me an Xbox, play all the other games, and then just
Xbox Game Pass.
Pop on the PlayStation every so often.
Yeah, Carlos, what's up, bro?
I don't understand. Do you guys think if Returnal was 60, that would have sold more?
Oh no. I'm talking for this case. I'm talking about Ratchet and Clank. I'm talking about Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Returnal should not have been. I'm sorry, shouldn't have been more than $30, man. I don't. That game is not for the like you said, Carlos. It's a niche game, not for the masses. I'm specifically talking about Ratchet and Clank.
Well, Ratchet and Clank's not even that big of a franchise.
It's not.
Crash Bandicoot is way bigger than this than Ratchet and Clank. And when you think of Crash Bandicoot, you think it's just like it's a super popular game, but not like at the God of War Last of Us level.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So and that's even what's it called? Ratchet's even below that. So it's just they're not the most catch-all big net type of games. I think it sold. I think I read the article from MPD where they said that it sold them. Well, we know that it sold 1 million from the Sony quarterly report.
It's the quarterly report.
MPD said that it was the best-selling game of June.
Yeah, it was.
And it sold twice as much in its first month than any of its predecessors.
Yeah.
So, it sold twice as much as first month than even the best-selling Ratchet game, which I think is the first one. So I think it did really good. This isn't a $5 million selling game.
No.
It never was.
Again, my whole thing was like, damn, man, even when there's no games out, it can't crack that even 2 million. But no, it still did well. It's still going to get sequels and all that. But I'm wondering,
it's going to do 2 million.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just wondering if the $70 price is going to ultimately hurt some of these games, or. But then again, I'm thinking about if it Last of Us, motherfuckers are going to pay that $70. They're going to pay $70 for God of War. Gladly pay it,
The only time $70 price games is gonna make people question themselves are the type of games that $60 price tag would have made them question the game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If someone is set on buying Call of Duty and Madden and FIFA each year, $70 doesn't matter.
Yeah,
if The Last of Us, if for any Fallout, a freaking what's it called, GTA. It's not even us that buys that damn game more than 4 times. It's almost everyone that buys it more than once. So it's the $70 games is only pricey to people who aren't really looking forward to the game.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. They'd be saying that about $60 games. If they don't like that game, if they don't care about that game.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right.
If Kojima comes out and says, "Hey, I'm releasing a new Metal Gear Solid game and it's $80," are Kojima fans gonna be like, "No, $80? I don't know about that."
I would be.
Not me. I'll be like, "Give me that shit."
You're not. No, you're not.
Stop, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. You're full of shit right now.
Only if it comes with shit. Only it comes.
Look at this guy, Carlos.
It'll come in a box. It'll come in a box.
It'll come in a box. It'll come in a box.
If it comes with a baby inside of a tube, okay, I'm good with that.
That shit is crazy, man. Anyway, any last words on these PlayStation sales?
Sure, they happened.
Oh man,
I do find the whole amount that it's sold to be quite fascinating because, again, it just goes to what I've always thought is that the majority of people that buy the consoles, they don't buy the exclusives. They buy it for stuff that's not exclusive.
Fortnite,
so far,
Call of Duty.
Yeah, and again, as you said, these guys probably don't give a damn about $7 games. They're just like, oh, does have Fortnite? Yep. Then they buy it, and that's it. Which is fascinating because then how does Sony and Microsoft get that audience to buy their games?
Yeah, no, you're right.
I have no idea. I'm just throwing that out there as a thought I often have. And I think the sales are on the rather low side. I was expecting return to be at least 1 million or so. So I was very
mega seller, Brian. You say?
Yeah. Again, look at all the advertising that they did. They showed it off 3 times and whatnot. It was the big March game, So I was like, okay, these guys will probably sell quite a bit. It looks quite nice, It feels very different and fresh. Lots of parkour effects, very next gen looking, So I was expecting something else, but guess not. And Ratchet and Clank, I'm very surprised at that because again, they were advertising it like crazy here. I mean, billboards, TV shows, adverts, So I was like, okay, so they have the Sony advertising stuff now. But no, it just didn't seem to move that much, which is fascinating. So I really wonder how much of the sales is due to the scalpers, the pricing, and the fact that, the idea that people just don't care about Ratchet and Clank, or that the general mass audience don't care about Ratchet and Clank. I wonder how much each part contributes to it.
Well, going back to my old thing, Ratchet and Clank was never this big of a franchise, and the game has 10% of the system. There's 10 million PS5s out in the wild, and 1 million of them, a million of them have sold.
Yeah.
And that's only in 20 days. The game came out in what is it, June 11th?
Yeah.
Those are just the numbers till the end of February. So it's from June 11th to June 30th. So those are the only days that are being taken into account for the Ratchet numbers because the quarter ends in June. So it's not so this still in July it could have sold another 1 million. We don't know. But especially there's only 10 million PS5s are out, so 1 million's pretty good.
But then
it's not a Mario Nintendo kind of thing where those motherfuckers are like, half of the freaking console owners own those damn games.
Yeah, I mean they're still in the NPDs, You
also have to remember that this is Sony's longest running IP that they have.
Yeah, for now,
it
it
started
is.
Back in the PS2 days. It has been around for a long time. So is it fatigue or has it just never caught on? And if it's never caught on, then why do Sony keep on trying? It's very odd. Again,
well, the thing is, Brian, because they keep selling at least 1 million. I think that's why.
It sold 1 million in 20 days.
Yeah, it does pretty good. It's not a Last of Us, it's not an Uncharted, but it does well. It's not like like Gravity Rush. Like nobody really bought that. These games sell millions. These are mega sellers. But they're not ultra sellers.
Ultra, I know what is a mega ultra sellers.
Yeah, mega ultra, super ultra mega. That's the thing I always used to say.
Ultra.
The super ultra mega. One word. All right, man. Let's move on.